management of KWAM. Welcome to the Variety Hour, where local leaders talk Memphis.
Listen to you move your mouth. I bet you come from way down south. Now don't tell me, let me guess, you from the town that I love best. Talk Memphis, I wish you would. Talk Memphis, you sound so good. Talk Memphis, high on the bluff. I swear I can't get enough listening to you talk that stuff. Talk Memphis, oh yeah, talk Memphis.
You're listening to the CrestCore Real Estate Hour. Now, here's your host, Dean Harris.
All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning here at the CrestCore Real Estate Hour. I am your host, Dean Harris. I am with CrestCore Realty over on Summer Avenue. So really appreciate you guys tuning in this morning. Thank you guys for tuning in on Facebook Live. You can go to the show's Facebook page, the Memphis Real Estate Hour. Well, it's the CrestCore Real Estate Hour. Man, I'm going to have it of saying that over and over again. You can go back to the old shows, like, guys, you can go to the CrestCore Real Estate Hour. It's a Facebook page. We post all the live shows on there. As soon as this one's over, I'll post it. There's plenty of old shows on there. I think we're up to 70 or 75 on there now. The CrestCore Real Estate Hour concentrates on investing in Memphis and West Tennessee real estate. We will focus on all those related topics. I'll discuss local and national investment trends, as well as take a look at what it takes to become an investor here, or what it takes to become a bigger and better investor here in Memphis or in West Tennessee. I remind you every single show that I am an investor, so if you have that old home that you need to sell quickly, it could be run down, burnt out, torn up, more damage than what you feel like messing with to fix it up and get it ready, I'll be happy to get you a cash offer on that home today. So just shoot me an email, dean@crestcore.com, and I'll be happy to get back with you as soon as I can. Today's show, I'm going to have the investments of the week. I've got 3 really good properties. A lot of our investors look for this 1% rule when it comes to investing. Simply put, that just means if it's an $800 rental, they'll pay $80,000. So I've got several of those 3 today that I'm going to give to you. Some really good high-end rents, a couple of almost $3,000 worth of rent you can get every month. So we'll do that at the bottom of the hour. Last couple of weeks we've been Dan Butler's with me today. Dan, how are you?
Good morning.
Dan,
I'm over here.
Yeah.
Remember me?
I'm alive. Dan and I, the last couple of weeks, have been building kind of a progression type show where we're talking about getting yourself ready. We did the 5 C's of credit and being bankable. So we're trying to get you as an individual ready to invest in whatever market that you're in. Really, it doesn't necessarily, what we're talking about doesn't necessarily focus on just in Memphis. It applies here, but I mean, you could really take this information and apply it anywhere. So
maybe Memphis and Jackson.
Yeah, anywhere like Jackson, Tennessee. Yeah,
or
so
Memphis.
If you want to apply it there, we can help you. So let's review just for a second, Dan. We'll dive right into this and just get started. Getting yourself ready to be a real estate investor. Kind of briefly talk about what are some of the first things that we spoke about over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, just kind of recap. I mean, I thought it was good just to, it's not a get-rich-quick thing. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you get into it, out of it what you put into it.
That's with a lot of things. But
that's kind of where that get-rich-quick, it's not a get-rich-quick. That's where, kind of comes from. Like, you got to pour in the extra effort.
Yep.
It's not going to just come to you just, rain money from the sky,
This is not
rain
a
houses
natural
from the
thing.
sun.
This is not something you're born with.
No.
You've got to learn it.
You got to build and work, Now, we all have strengths within what we do within real estate investing. That's part of what we talked about a couple weeks ago, just finding your niche of what you're really good at and sticking to that. I mean, and let others, leveraging others to help you get, and we'll talk about that more in the next segment. But, it's don't take emotion out of it. You are going to have losses of some sort.
That's one thing I like to stick that just for 2 seconds. You're going to fail.
Yeah.
I did my very first one. It was terrible. You're going to fail.
You shouldn't have failed, but
I should not have. No, I mean, but it is.
That house is worth, you'd have made $20,000 if you had.
I'm about to list it again.
Are you really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Today.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, Yeah, and he's making money.
He's making money.
Yeah, if I'd have held on to it, I'd have doubled it. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's. I failed. It was horrible. I
Yeah.
didn't listen. I didn't do the right thing. I skimped. I've told this story 100 times. I had an $8,500 rehab. I did $6,200 worth and paid for it. Just maintenance calls over the next 12 months. It was just, it was miserable. So you will have failures. What else?
You know, and things that you probably need to like think through of what's going to take is, you know, patience, perseverance, your sweat equity, your money, focus. You know, I think, you know, as we get into the next segment, just, you know, picking a lane and sticking to it. I spoke after our last radio show, went and spoke to the young investors for MIG.
Yeah.
At Rail Garden. We had a great time, and I mean, they peppered me for questions for 2 hours.
How many people showed up?
About 20. It was a good crowd. I mean, you know, 9:30 at night, they're still going strong, you know, because they're in their 20s and 30s, early 30s. I was like, I'm 45. I got to go home and go to bed.
Did you put down a few brewskis with them?
Oh, man. I had to answer like, I had to stay focused. I had to be on top of my game. That's right. I mean, they were asking all kinds of questions, from financing to property management to finding tenants to, you know, finding the right contractors and how much a rehab to do. I mean, they asked some really good questions. So, which, you know, that's part of this whole radio show is about. I mean, trying to help educate and, you know, take what we've learned and our failures and our mistakes. And this isn't a, you know, pound our chest, you know, here we've made it, here's what we've done. It's more about here's what we shouldn't do. That's what I always tell people. This is what you shouldn't do.
Part of what people like about our show.
Yeah, and so, you know, another big one for me is just removing your limited beliefs. You know, that's been huge for me, and I know some of our friends that teach on that, kind of that mindset. You know, they spend a lot of time on mindset and just removing that, you know, I can't do this or I don't know how versus I'm going to figure out how.
Yeah.
Just changing that sentence.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, just a few key words allows your mind to start focusing on the solution versus an excuse. And so, you know, that's one thing I see a lot of people do is just make excuses of, well, I don't have any money, or I don't know how to find deals, or I don't know how to manage, or I don't know how to rehab. You know what I mean? Like, okay.
So what are you going to do about it?
So what are you going to do about it? That's
You're just going to leave this whole conversation and say, no, I'm done?
I mean,
Grant Cardone gives the best in that 10X book. He says, don't allow yourself to be the victim.
Yeah.
Don't allow yourself to be a victim of a circumstance.
You know, and Douglas, I talked to, actually literally this morning on our run about just the sharing knowledge. We were talking about one of our friendly competitor peers that, you know, won't do a certain thing because he didn't want others to gain the knowledge and experience. And I'm like, man, you know, how long have we been doing this? You know?
Yeah.
And out of 100 people, how many people actually take action? Or massive action, let's put it that way.
Yeah. Not many.
One. So it's really like 1%. Like, you know, if you're worried about competitors, you know, you and I have some lively discussions about this. I mean, to me, don't worry about your competitors or what everybody else is doing. Figure out what you want to do. And if you take massive action and do what you say you're going to do, you will go far in this business because most people won't.
That is true.
I mean, we've looked at the data from every real estate agency in town, and it's that whole Pareto principle. You know, it's not really 80-20. It's really more like
90-10.
It's 90-10, 95-5 in some instances where
that applies in our market from a real estate agent perspective like you wouldn't believe. If you go look at our top agents and their volume, I mean, there's 20 that are consistently up there every single time.
And it just falls off after that.
It falls dramatically.
And it's like, what's the difference? You know, like, and it's all the things we've been talking about: the massive action, the focus, the grit, the passion, the learning, putting systems and processes in place, all that stuff. That
the work ethic is a lot of it. You know, just who really wants to work. I mean, so if you're an investor, it's, you know, you're going to have to work to put this together. So yeah, it's a separation of the weak and the strong.
Well, and I can't wait to see how it all plays out. I mean, every brokerage you talk to is putting on new agents like left and right. And it's like, because they see the shiny object of houses are selling, but man, the MLS is the lowest it's been since I've been in Memphis.
Both
I don't know about you.
And Mississippi.
Is that the lowest since you've been a real estate agent?
You mean agent count or
active?
Houses?
No, houses.
Oh, it's been the lowest for a while.
Yeah, so it's the lowest, and now you got agents starting to build back up.
Yeah.
You know, when we had before the downturn, what was Memphis? Or Shelby County, 6,000 something agents.
When I got my license in 2002, there were 73 or 7,400 real estate agents. Now I think we're down to 3,200.
7,400 down to 3,100. and now it's climbing back up.
Yeah, it'll increase now a little bit.
You know, and so, but still the same. I mean, the cream has to rise to the top. The people that are going to get after it and, you know,
I mean, Dan used to be able to go to real estate class here and sit in a building, and the class would be full. Man, there were people sitting on the floor to learn.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Oh,
like there was Ray Bowder had the biggest one. People were on the floor sitting and watching because they wanted to be in the class. Now
Right.
you can't get into a classroom. It has to be online. No,
Really?
Yeah, no one does anymore because there's not enough people to do it.
Is that why Ray Bowder went under?
Yeah, well, no, but
No.
that's a whole other
That's
story.
another.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but he had a great thing going, man. When people were diving into real estate, I mean, trying to get into it. So yeah, no, it definitely changes, and you certainly got to adapt. Biggest mental obstacle
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
fear. I mean, you know, fear of the unknown, failure of losing everything, losing money. You know, what
losing
do
the
you think?
house,
That's
losing
right.
your reputation, losing
credit, all of it.
losing your credit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that is the biggest issue. I mean, the questions I get, you know, they're not talking about how great the asset's going to
Right.
perform or how the house is going to perform. Like
They're worried about
how things are going to end up. And so, you know, I think we've said that before. Plan, you know, hope for the best, plan for the worst.
Mhm.
In your mind, just have your, you know, what's your options? What's your backup strategy? What's the worst that can happen to you? You're stuck with a $300 mortgage every month, you know, if you buy a house. And so just think through those kind of things. I mean, you got to expand your comfort zone in this business, you know. I mean, Douglas and I are still every day, and I know you are too, expanding your comfort zone. Every day has got to be bigger, you know, change, trying something new. We call it low-cost experiments. You've heard me say that probably 1,000 times on the show. You know, I mean, we're trying something right now. We're going to, you know, try a different division.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we got 2 that we're working on, and we're just going to tiptoe into it, you know. And one thing that your listeners, our listeners, however you say that, that it's really a game changer for us, that we've really kind of tried to shift our mindset. It's not how, it's who. So, you know, we were sitting there trying to think about marketing and all that stuff, and it's like, all right, well, we could sit down and try to figure out how to market this and what's this and Google ads and who's going to figure that out, and you know, no. Let's figure out who we could partner with, hire, you know, outsource to, whatever that you know,
Best use of time.
So our time should be finding out the who, not figuring out the how.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
You know, so that's the same thing with partner with banks. Don't figure out how. Let them help you figure out how to get that financing. And
when you talk about expanding your comfort zone, that you know, that hits home to me because, you know, this radio show was one for me, right? So we'll be 3 years in June doing this, and I never ever thought I'd end up on the air talking about real estate or talking about anything. I don't have any broadcasting background. It just wasn't in my thought process. And then, you know, George here presented me with the opportunity several years ago, and it was something that I shied away from at first. It took me a while to get over that hump to do it. But now that I'm here doing it, it's changed my perception. It's changed me dramatically from a confidence level in knowing what I'm talking about, from the way people look at us and our business. You know, I mean, it's really changed. I mean, dramatically. You know, we use this show for several different reasons. We bring it to our investors. We also use it as a tool when we're marketing just Memphis. You know, when we're talking about Memphis. So it's changed. So the comfort zone factor for me was enormous, and I want to relay that to all investors. If you're, you know, whatever it may be, you know, your thing might not be getting on the radio, but you might have something that's outside of your comfort level or comfort zone that you need to do to help you expand that. To me, that's huge.
Oh, a good example of that for me is this radio show, and you ask me questions and getting questions from the audience and that kind of stuff. And going to that meetup, you know, the other night, I mean, yeah, I'm a little nervous because you don't know what you're going to be asked, but you get so used to being asked peppered questions that, you know, your mind has thought through just about everything. You know what I mean? Like
I that's one thing I get every day is questions.
Oh yeah.
All the day long is questions.
Yep.
I'm very comfortable answering questions. If you have questions about investing in real estate, that's one thing I'm comfortable with. And sometimes I'll say I don't know.
I was going to say, we don't know sometimes.
No,
we have to say,
I'll say I don't know. Hey, but I'll go find out for you.
And, I found myself, and I think you and I both the same, and I have to be very careful. This is my opinion, you know. So just anyway.
Preface it with that.
Preface it. That's right, because you don't want to, because you're talking about people's money, so you just want to make sure that
very careful the advice you give them. That's
Yep.
right. We're talking this morning. We're about to get into, we're going to take a quick break. Come back and get into how to accelerate your path into real estate investing. We wanted to review the last couple of weeks, kind of where we've been, and some of the shows that we've been doing over the last couple of weeks. So you guys stick around. When we come back, we're going to dive right into the show and talk about how to accelerate your path to real estate investing. You guys are listening to the CrestCore Real Estate Hour here at AM 990 Memphis.
You're listening to the CrestCore Real Estate Hour. We'll be right back after this.
KWAM weather and traffic twice an hour from News Channel 3 and on-time traffic on The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990. KWAM weather.
A cool start to what promises to be a delightful day ahead. Sunshine, low 60s, light winds from the west. Clear, not as cold, with mid-40s overnight. We're back into the sunshine, nearing 70 on Wednesday. Rain or thunder now likely for your Thursday. Memphis Spine and Rehab relocating to Germantown across from the Chick-fil-A and Wolf Trail Cove. Call 901-751-0939 for Memphis Spine and Rehab. I'm News Channel 3's Todd Demers on The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Griffin, Cliff, Everton, and Mashmeyer, PLLC, is a full-service law firm with over 50 years of experience in the Memphis area. Real estate closings have continued to be the forefront of their law practice, which include residential, commercial, and development real estate transactions, drafting and negotiation of real estate contracts and leases, business information, preparation of wills, probate, and estate planning. Their firm represents a number of builders, developers, investors, and local lending institutions, and is approved to close transactions for most local banks and mortgage companies. In addition, they offer title search, title examination services, and title insurance through several well-established title insurance companies in the Memphis area, as well as Tennessee and Mississippi. They strive to offer services in a prompt and timely fashion while advising and representing clients in a zealous and professional manner. Should their offered services be of need, please contact William N. Griffin Jr. or any of their attorneys at 901-752-1133. They can also be found online at www.gcemlaw.com or on Facebook.
Is it a good time to buy or refi? Is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? Are interest rates going sky high soon? Hi, I'm Ludi Calloway, the mortgage lady at iBank Mortgage. I tell my customers to ask questions, get answers. So join me every Monday morning at 8, and I will tell you what's going on in today's still changing mortgage world. Remember, most people think about mortgages a few times in their lives. I think about them every single day. Tune in Mondays at 8.
CBS Money Watch.
An upbeat start to the week on Wall Street. On Monday, the Dow rallied 329 points. The Nasdaq soared 99, and the S&P 500 was up 32. On the flip side, shares of Lyft did not lift off, dropping nearly 12% in its second day of trading. Meanwhile, British Parliament has once again rejected new Brexit options. 4 separate votes failed in the House of Commons yesterday. The United Kingdom has until April 12th to come up with a plan to exit the European Union. And that's your CBS Money Watch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane King Hall.
You have enough things to worry about every day. Insurance shouldn't be one of them. You can leave worry behind when Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance. See how much you could save at libertymutual.com. KWAM weather and traffic twice an hour from News Channel 3 and on-time traffic on The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990. KWAM traffic.
Good morning. I'm looking live at this crash here. T-Not's behind it on 40 eastbound right at Chelsea. It's already busy headed towards Midtown right now as it is. They're still out here working an accident at Kirby Parkway at Mount Moriah. Watch for some work today starting at 9 o'clock this morning on 240 eastbound at Getwell Road. That's going to go on until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Mayfest 2019 in Ober-Gatlinburg is happening May 17th through May 27th. Check it out, obergatlinburg.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back to the CrestCore Real Estate Hour. Now, here's your host, Dean Harris.
All right, welcome back. Smashing Pumpkins. We say that every time, Dan. You're not going to comment on that, Smashing Pumpkins?
I don't even know who that is. Yeah. I had tickets to Weezer.
You got to live. They're
a week
good.
ago. I texted the guy that texted me one. I said, "Who is that?"
Oh man, gee whiz.
I mean, I know who they are, but I have no idea what they sing. I mean, I know they're a band. I knew that. I did go hear Zach Brown, and Drew Holcomb. That was good.
I don't know anything about that either.
See?
Nah, I know who Zach Brown is. I don't listen to country music, but I know who Zach Brown is.
Yeah, he was good.
Good show. Where was it at?
FedEx Forum.
I bet that was good.
But you know that it's not. It's more rock than it is country for him.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what's interesting.
Well, that's a majority of them now. It's really a soft rock and roll music.
Yeah. So,
the days of Guns N' Roses and
Kiss,
Metallica. Metallica's still at it, man. That's good. That's good music.
Metallica?
Oh yeah.
Are they 75, 78?
I don't care. They still put on a great show too, man. All right, let's get back to this.
We digress. Yeah.
Yeah. Investments of the week, guys. Get your pens out. I've got 3 really good properties here. These would really apply for the kind of the 1%ers, but we've got plenty of buyers for those. So here we go. 7433 Doncaster Lane. It's in 38125 Southeast Shelby County. 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. This property will rent for $1,250, maybe even $1,300. Seller is asking $119. There isn't any work that needs to be done to this thing. There's new carpet, paint, the whole bit. You'll literally just have to come in here and start collecting your rent. So, 7433 Doncaster Lane, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Will rent for $1,250 to $1,300. Seller's asking $119. Number 2, 1065 Craigwood. 1065 Craigwood, 3-bedroom, 2 bath. It's in Whitehaven, 38116. This is occupied at $900. Seller's asking $99.9. It's a little bit higher than 1%, but I think this seller would be willing to work with you. She's ready to go. 1066 Craigwood, 3-bedroom, 2 bath. It's in Whitehaven, 38116. Will rent for $900. Seller's asking $99.9. And finally here, 3188 Beauchamp. Beauchamp, or Beauchamp. What part of you're from Alabama or Mississippi? One or the other. 4-bedroom, 3 bath. 4 bedrooms, 3 bath. This will rent for $1,000, and seller's asking $99.9. And this is in 38118. 3188 Beauchamp, 4-bedroom, 3 bath, $99.9. This one rent for $1,000. Guys, you can go to the brokerage's website, www.crestcorerealty.com. We're going to be launching a new website here in the next couple of weeks, but for now, they're all still listed on there. It's going to be the same address, but they're all listed on there. All of our listings are. We're up to 97 now.
That's great.
Got back up. Yeah, we dipped down into the 70s. We're back up to about 97 investment properties that we have listed on there. So
still going strong.
Yeah, still going strong. So you guys feel free to visit that website, CrestCoreRealty.com. You can check all those out. All right, let's dive into today's topic here on this last half hour, reviewing, how to accelerate your path into real estate investing. We think we have to, do it to learn and move forward. Learning from other successes and failures is one way to kind of accelerate it. Everybody comes to me, a lot of people come to me and they say, how can we push this forward? How can we move a little bit quicker? And how can you advance and move, faster than the next guy? And although fast is okay, it's not always the greatest thing to move fast. So I guess acceleration, in my opinion, doesn't necessarily mean moving fast.
No.
to me, it's got a whole different definition. What is, when you think accelerating your path?
I mean, I think you're gaining momentum. You're gaining momentum.
Yeah.
And so how do you gain momentum quicker? You can go fat out of the gate and buy 10 houses tomorrow. You can go, start flipping 2-3 houses tomorrow. I mean, there's stuff you can go super fast with. But I mean, I think, for us, I think it's just, how do we learn? I mean, I had lunch with my mentor last Wednesday, semi-retired. I'm still trying to learn from him. Like, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's what we're looking at. How would you handle this?
Mm-hmm.
I might not agree with his answer, but he definitely asked a lot of questions and,
helps you think in different ways you're not thinking.
That's
right.
Now. Get away from everything. Let somebody else challenge you. We have a business coach. He was with us Friday, and it's kind of the same thing. Like, just challenge us to think differently and think, stop thinking about in the business and then on the business, and kind of the same thing. So I've always, kind of parallel this, I've always loved your fifth story example, when you're talking about CrestCore and what you do and what we do, so many people, when you're starting out, you're really on the first floor. Could even say the basement.
Could.
And what we're trying to do is say, we're going to start you on the fifth floor, but we're going to pour into you. We're going to ask a lot of questions, answer a lot of questions, ask you a lot of questions. I mean, we were talking about that yesterday. What's our ideal client? Yeah. Part of that is we want to start, doing surveys on personalities and understand how detailed you are, how social you are. Like, how can we serve you better by knowing who you really are?
That's us putting ourselves up on a little bit higher area to help you pull you up.
That's right.
And I tell investors all the time, if this is a 20-story building that we're in here, from an analogy standpoint, if you're coming to me asking me questions like, how do I get started and what are some of the first, you're just in the infant stages of this. You're just beginning. You're just getting started. What I always tell investors to do is to go educate yourself, go read some books. I'll give you several that you can go check out. Go listen to podcasts on Bigger Pockets. Listen to the show. Get up on that fifth floor, essentially before, we really start diving into strategy and different things that you can do. So, the fifth floor analogy to me is one that helps. Buying in the right areas. I mean, to me, accelerating doesn't necessarily mean let's move quicker. Accelerate might also mean building your team. You've got to get some bankers and some closing attorneys, insurance people. You've got, we've talked about this repeatedly on the show, but that might be a way to what you would consider accelerating. You might not buy anything for 6 months, but you're accelerating your path of success by building the team around you. So acceleration doesn't always mean let's go buy 10 houses this month. But acceleration in your mind, in your actions every day, whether it might not, necessarily be moving quickly like that day, but slower and methodically every day and trying to move towards that. I mean, that is considered acceleration as well.
And I think just leaning on others to help, the banks, us, different people, mentors, MIG, they're going to, help steer you, buying the right areas, buying it right, having the proper insurance, understanding your taxes, all that stuff that you can go ahead and kind of, pre-learn, for lack of better words, just learn before we even start. Like, what's the, what are my pitfalls? What is the, and that's why I send people to our radio a lot, like the top 10 mistakes out-of-state investors make. And they're like, man.
Huge show, man.
Yeah, they just,
huge show.
It's like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that all this happens to people in like all day, every day, somewhere in town. I mean,
yes.
I talked to a guy yesterday, as an appraiser in town, and he gave me his whole story of, all the failures he had. And if I can take that knowledge and apply it and tell it to others, what to do and not to do. And so, yeah, I mean, that's part of it. And then, I read something the other day, when you're listening, like our podcast or Bigger Pockets or, Dan Sullivan, it's strategic coaching. That's one of our favorites. Douglas and I, we're spending a lot of time on those. Or going to seminars, To me, you got to listen to what a person thought he or she could do. What were they thinking? Listen to their story. Like, that's, you and I were talking about that the other day. Like, stories to me, it's so much easier to remember what not to do and what to do.
Yeah.
So you're thinking about what that person was thinking as they're going through their journey.
Yep.
How that person did it. What was the,
what they accomplished.
What they accomplished. What they failed at. What they learned from. what they accomplish, and then how do you apply it to yourself? I added that this morning. Just how does that apply to you?
Yeah, those are things that you can ask when you see someone that's successful, or you meet a successful investor. Some of those questions are important for you to be either think in your mind and ask, or just flat out ask. What did they do? How did they do it? And what were some of the goals that they hit? No, that's great.
And when I was going through this, I was thinking about running a race on your own versus running a relay race. And I did I think in 2011 I did a 52-mile relay race.
You did?
Yeah, but
how many people?
6. So, but think about that. Could you imagine? Like, I couldn't even imagine going to doing a 52-mile race, especially this was up in the mountains, South Carolina. Hills were just up and down, very vertical. But so
I don't even like driving 52 miles.
The analogy in that 52-mile race,
yeah.
I probably would have averaged, I don't know. I would hope for 10, but probably say 12-minute miles.
Yeah.
All right. But as a team of 6, we got that thing done in just over 8-minute miles. 52 miles with 6 people. See what I'm saying? So that's where for people to really think about doing it alone versus that's one of our our sayings that we have at the office. You can go fast, go alone, go farther, go together.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to really hone in on with our team, or excuse me, to the audience, is just that team concept and that partnership concept. Think of it as a relay race versus doing it on your own.
Yeah.
You just think of that analogy alone. That'll help you frame how to start thinking about your team and building to accelerate your path.
That's right. Learning and observing from others is a huge point. Avoiding stumbling blocks that other people. I'm real proud of this show for that reason. We give you a lot of examples on this show of mistakes. I mean, you've talked about them. I've talked about mine. We're not afraid to tell you how we failed on this show. So avoid those stumbling blocks. Listen to what we're telling you, and don't make the same mistakes. I do it every day. I mean, I see investors that go in certain areas and certain pockets of Memphis and West Tennessee, and I think, man, they shouldn't have gone there. We warned them, they did. I mean, I don't. So other people have used their own time and money and energy, and you should take advantage of that, of the successes and the failures,
right.
To learn, some of those mistakes and what they've done and what you should not do.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much that's happened out there. People have had a tax sale go bad, or they've had a land bank sale where they couldn't get title insurance, or they flipped a house and had a bad contractor. I mean, there's millions of those examples.
Hey, I had a guy last week. We had to pull 8 of his listings off the market because he bought them, every one of them, at a tax sale.
And didn't
cure the title.
Didn't understand that part.
Didn't understand that part of the process. I mean, my man had 8 houses that he had bought for awesome prices.
Yeah.
Had them on the market. I mean, he was literally going to double his money, his investment, but we can't sell them. They don't have good titles.
Right.
He's got to spend $1,500, $2,000 a piece
per house, yeah.
Per house to get those titles cleaned up. And he was like, Dean, I don't have that kind of cash sitting around here, and I can do that right now. I was like, well, we got to pull these off the market. You might as well just take the rent and keep them for a while, and then when you can build back up to that. So those are mistakes. I mean, I'm telling you one right there. If you guys buy houses through the tax sale, you got to make sure you clean that title up before you can sell it.
Yeah, I mean, when I was at that Young Investors Group, we talked about insurance a lot, and I was like, learn from me, man. When you're starting out, make sure you have replacement insurance, because somebody was talking about actual cash value insurance, and that sounds good.
Yeah.
But learn from us that have made that mistake.
You've told that story about your apartment 100 times.
Just replacement costs when you're starting out. Like, if that burns down, you got to be able to build it at $80-$90 a foot. You can't rebuild it when you bought it at some people put the insurance on at $40 a foot, and that's what they get the insurance for. Well, you're going to get 40 divided by the market rate of, say, 90. So whatever that percentage, 40 divided by 90, that's the percentage of the claim. So if it's a $100,000 claim, you're going to get $40,000, $50,000.
And that ain't going to rebuild.
Ain't going to rebuild that house. You're going to be stuck not knowing what to do. So.
Guys, we're going to take one more quick break. We're going to come back and go into our segment 2, the 3 fundamentals once you start investing, what you buy, terms for how you buy it, and your team and your network. Stay tuned with us. We'll be right back here in just a few minutes on the CrestCore Real Estate Hour, 107.9 The Voice.
You're listening to the CrestCore Real Estate Hour. We'll be right back after this.
KWAM weather and traffic twice an hour from News Channel 3 and on-time traffic on The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990. KWAM weather.
A cool start to what promises to be a delightful day ahead. Sunshine, low 60s, light winds from the west. Clear, not as cold, with mid-40s overnight. We're back under the sunshine, nearing 70 on Wednesday. Rain or thunder now likely for your Thursday. Memphis Spine and Rehab relocating to Germantown across from the Chick-fil-A and Wolf Trail Cove. Call 901-751-0939 for Memphis Spine and Rehab. I'm News Channel 3's Todd Demers on The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Griffin, Cliff, Everton, and Mashmeyer, PLLC, is a full-service law firm with over 50 years of experience in the Memphis area. Real estate closings have continued to be the forefront of their law practice, which include residential, commercial, and development real estate transactions, drafting and negotiation of real estate contracts and leases, business information, preparation of wills, probate, and estate planning. Their firm represents a number of builders, developers, investors, and local lending institutions, and is approved to close transactions for most local banks and mortgage companies. In addition, they offer title search, title examination services, and title insurance through several well-established title insurance companies in the Memphis area, as well as Tennessee and Mississippi. They strive to offer services in a prompt and timely fashion while advising and representing clients in a zealous and professional manner. Should their offered services be of need, please contact William N. Griffin Jr. or any of their attorneys at 901-752-1133. They can also be found online at www.gcemlaw.com or on Facebook.
Is it a good time to buy or refi? Is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? Are interest rates going sky high soon? Hi, I'm Ludi Calloway, the mortgage lady at iBank Mortgage. I tell my customers to ask questions, get answers. So join me every Monday morning at 8 and I will tell you what's going on in today's still changing mortgage world. Remember, most people think about mortgages a few times in their lives. I think about them every single day. Tune in Mondays at 8.
KWAM weather and traffic twice an hour from News Channel 3 and on-time traffic on The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990. KWAM traffic.
Well, good morning. We're looking at a car that has hit the Playhouse here on the Square building. Again, a lot of flashing lights in this area. Sam Cooper Boulevard near Tillman Street. That's a crash getting some attention. Getwell Road at State Line Road. Got a wreck waiting for you at that location as they finish up the paperwork. That wreck 40 eastbound near Chelsea Avenue. Watch for work today starting at 9 o'clock till 3 this afternoon. 240 east at Getwell Road. Mayfest 2019 is happening at Ober-Gatlinburg May 17th through May 27th. Check it out, obergatlinburg.com. I'm Commander Chug. You're on time traffic.
Welcome back to the CrestCore Real Estate Hour. Now, here's your host, Dean Harris.
Okay, Dan. This is Weezer.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Is it really?
Yeah. Listen to it.
I should have gone to the concert. I like that song.
Educating yourself.
That's funny. Oh, well.
Did you not know? So you recognize this song, right?
I do. I probably should have Googled it and listened, and then I said, oh, okay, I'll take.
Yeah.
I like free, so.
That's good.
Free is always good. Free tickets.
I'll buy you some to a Panic show if you want to go.
No.
Man, I'm good.
I'm good.
All right. Segment 2 here, guys. 3 fundamentals. Once you start your investing, okay? What to buy. That's the biggest, or what you buy. I mean, that's the biggest. One of the first questions I get is, where and what. And I half of the investors come to me and they have no idea what they want.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, but they have no idea. They know they want to invest, and they've listened to some podcasts,
some friends. They've
talked to some friends.
Yeah,
but they
like the idea. They like the concept. They like the wealth creation. They like the key little shiny objects. Is what we always
But they don't have any idea. They haven't gone further to actually see what performs and what doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to a guy the other day. Multifamily, single family, duplex, commercial. I said, man, we got to hone you in, man.
And the investor that says, it doesn't matter to me, bring me a deal, I have to narrow it down. I'm not saying I'm not going to work with you, but what I'm saying is, like, you and I, Mr. or Mrs. Investor, have got to We've got to hone that
zeroed
down.
in. Yep.
I just want a deal. Well, you know, you want a $3 million deal or you want a $30,000 deal? Those are, you know, clearly two separate things. So we've got to narrow it down on what you're buying and where.
And, you know, I would say with this, kind of going back to segment 1 about learning from others, like you partner with somebody or you're talking to somebody in Memphis or Jackson or wherever, that you really, you know, you don't just take the first person you called because they did a good marketing job, and then they've got their own little area they like and rent range they like. You know, they're going to try to talk you into that. Like, I would just suggest stepping back, maybe talk to some other people, you know, and just really understand, like, do you really want a 650 rental? You know, I talked to a guy the other day, and his wife got on the phone. Oh, no.
She's thinking.
She's like, I don't want that. I don't want, you know, a lot of stress. I'm like, no, I'm not saying 900, 1,000 is not stress. I'm just saying it's a lot less stress.
Mm-hmm.
So which one, I mean, there's a potential for more return, you know, so.
Yeah, there's potential.
So you need to understand, you need to ask questions. You don't, you know, just because it's been rehabbed and, you know, got a new tenant and all that stuff, and it's a $600 rental, you know, just understand what that means, you know.
Yeah.
So, but by asking, you know, so get what price range you want, what rent range you want, what areas, you know, multifamily, single family. Do you want brick only? Siding, are you okay with siding?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the age, the beds, the baths. There's all.
I get that a lot. Bath. I mean, I get guys that'll bring me 2-bedroom homes. I mean, there's very few areas in Memphis that I would suggest buying a 2-bedroom investment. Few.
Yeah.
I know you'll take them wherever, but I mean.
Not wherever, but I'll take them.
Yeah, you'll take them. I mean, I've focused on a couple of, you know, specific areas with 2 bedrooms, but.
You scared?
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I am. That's right.
In some areas, yeah, actually,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. So what you buy is extremely important in where, and it's something that you need to narrow down. I mean, you don't have to say, hey, I want to buy on these 3 blocks, but we need to get it narrowed down to a certain type of product in a certain area, and then let's focus on getting the best of those products in that area. I always get this from out of state. You know, we've talked about this. 99% of my investors are out-of-state investors, and they all, you know, I have a threshold for them. And I always tell it to them. I wouldn't go below 50 grand, and I wouldn't go under 700 in rent. I just wouldn't. I mean, I have some that do, and I have some that pay attention closely to it, and they monitor it, and they're successful with it if they go lower. But if you're somewhat passive in this, and you're successful in your own private world, and this is going to become a second source of revenue and income for you, but you're going to remain somewhat passive, I can't tell you how strongly I feel about you not going below 50,000 in a price point and 700 in a rental range. So I do get that a lot.
You know, from all this, I think you know we each have to create our own opportunity filter, and I'm really liking that word filter, funnel. You know, like for everything we do. You know, I would listen to podcasts this weekend, and you know, when stuff comes up, if it doesn't fall in these 5 buckets within his life, he doesn't add it or doesn't look at it or doesn't even think about it. You know, kind of the same thing with these houses or multifamily. Like if you zero in and say, I just want 700 to 1,000 rent, I want 50 to 80,000 house. You know, that's what I tell people like that. I hadn't really put in those words until this morning. That's really the filter that we hand off to you to find the investors that product, because you got to know which direction to go. You got to have that filter. So it keeps you with the lens. It's kind of like the horse. What do you call those things?
Blinders.
The blinders. It keeps you focused on just what they want and need, you know. And so our job is to not send them that $30,000 house and get them excited.
And we don't.
Right, and we don't.
Yeah.
But the same thing for them. They don't need to be looking out on Zillow and all these other sites, Redfin or whatever it's called, and find these houses 30 and then send it to you. It's like, no, man. That's not what we talked about.
Yeah.
You know, that, you know, it keeps you, you know, to me, you start learning more and more about whatever you create that filter. You start learning. Now you can adjust that filter. We're not saying
you certainly can, but you're focused on 9,000 things versus just a couple of things that you can get good at. That's one thing I pride our brokerage on and our team, you know, at CrestCore in the real estate department. I do not. You know, if you come to me and you say I want $90,000 to $100,000 1%ers, I'm not sending you $50,000 houses or $180,000 houses. We get very specific with what we send you. So we're not that kind of company or not that kind of real estate team that, you know, you're just on a list and every single house that we get in, we send it out to everybody. That's not it. I try to cater our searches and our homes that we send you after what you're looking for. How you buy it.
Yeah, I mean, so
You love this part. You love this how you buy it.
How you buy it?
Yeah. Your terms.
My terms, price and terms. Yeah. I mean, that the terms. I mean, that's what people need. People are so focused on the price. It's really the terms.
Yeah.
That make you buy it right.
Mm-hmm.
You can pay double. I wouldn't say double, maybe.
You can pay a lot more.
A lot more for a house if the terms are right.
In other words, no interest.
Yeah, I mean, one of my mentor's friends, I love that example. He bought an East Memphis house 30 years ago, and the guy wanted $50,000 more than what he's willing to pay. Okay, let's just make it zero interest. I guess how much? So, how much principal every month is he paying on that payment?
All of it. Every payment.
Right, every payment's
Yeah.
100%. So you quickly make up that 50,000 in a year or two, and that curve just takes off super fast. So, you can pay a higher price. That's the point. If you find the right investment and have the right terms, but you need to know what the price is, the down payment, the interest rate. Do you want it occupied or vacant? Closing costs, length of a loan that you have. Is it 5, 10, 15, 30 year? All that needs to be put into your kind of analysis of how, because to me, when you find a deal that you just like, and once you got that, the opportunity filter, kind of got it figured out where you want to be, then the terms come into play.
Hey, you got an example?
Yeah.
Can you give me an example of this?
So,
Because I love what you're saying, because it's accurate, but I want, if you don't have one, that's fine, but.
No, so you say you had a house at $40,000 purchase price.
Okay.
You had to put 20% down, 5% interest, and a 15-year amortization. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So that means you had to put $8,000 down on a $40,000 property.
Yep.
5% interest, 15-year amortization. Say it rented for $800. That monthly payment is $253 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or I can buy this pay $45,000 with 0% down, 6% interest. So if you went from 20% down to 0 down, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But you paid $5,000 more, your interest rate went from 5 to 6, but your amortization stayed the same, and the rent was $800. Now your payment's $379.74. Which one is a better deal for you? Which one are you taking?
Are you asking me that question?
Yeah. So recap: $40,000,
Mm-hmm.
20% down, 5% interest, 15-year amortization, $800 rent, which makes it a $253 payment a month.
Okay.
Or $45,000 purchase. You didn't have to put any money down, 6% interest, because this guy owner financed it for
That's
you.
right. Mm-hmm.
15-year amortization, $800 rent, and the payments instead of $253, it's $379.
I'm taking me personally, I'm taking the 0 down.
Okay.
The
Wow.
40. For one, I want to keep the cash.
Yep.
2, I want to keep the cash.
And number 2, you want to keep the cash.
And number 2, I want to keep the cash. Because I follow you guys on this a whole lot. Like, if there's a way for me to get into this without having to put money down, then that's what I want to do. Because that $126 difference in a monthly payment doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
The extra point in the interest rate doesn't mean anything to me either.
Mm-hmm.
I'm buying this home in an area where if it's an $800 rental, this is a good solid rental pocket. So I assume, I'm not gonna count for a ton of vacancy. I mean, of course, we'll have some, but I'm gonna go with a 0 down. Now that would be for me now. If I get, if I'm 5 years down the road and my portfolio is a lot larger and I have a large cash reserve that's in there, and I get a deal that comes up, then it would make more sense for me at that point to go ahead and put that 20% down and try to beat up that principal, because my main objective is to pay these off.
So you hit on a good point. I mean, that's what for our listeners to think through. Like, neither one of them is wrong.
No.
Neither one of those examples puts you in the red.
No.
So I was just kind of doing the numbers. I mean, on an $800 rent, and this is where you and I probably don't agree, I say 50% of theoretical rent is gone.
Yeah, I don't go quite that high.
So I just do it conservatively.
In 127, I do.
Yeah. So 50% sets taxes, insurance, maintenance, management, and what I call vacancy and bad debt. To me, that adds up to about 50%. Just off the top. So that leaves you at an $800 rent, $400 of it's going to those 5 buckets. So it leaves you, the sixth bucket is your mortgage if you have one, if you don't pay all cash. So I've got $400 left on average per month, and one payment's $253, one payment's $379. So what my point is, neither one of them's wrong. Well, in one example, it's what is the example you gave. I'm just trying to, keep my cash somewhere down the line. I'm gonna use that cash either to another investment, or I could put down payment on a bigger, property or a package of houses, something that will accelerate my real estate investing. Kind of going back to the other segment. So, and it keeps your cash. Versus the other example is not bad. It gives you 100, and we hear that. Yes, I had somebody call me this weekend. I'll tell you about it in a second. He wanted $300 cash flow with a mortgage per month.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I don't know how to break it to you, but I don't know if that's
what price range or what rent range.
These.
That's gonna be tough.
50,000 to 80,000. I mean, anyway. But with a mortgage, without a mortgage, it's like, man, that's $400. But anyway, on this, so you're banking $150 a month.
Yeah.
Times 12 is $1,800 a year. Mm-hmm. Pretty conservative. We could say that that's probably going to happen for you. So you're $1,800. So if you look at it that way, on $8,000, let's see what that is divided by 8,000. That's a 22.5% return on the cash you put in.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and that's high.
So that's high.
It's good.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
So in this example, if that's all you want is a return on the cash, it's actually a pretty good deal.
Because some people look at the mortgage as just as part of the process. You know what I mean? Like they're only looking for the return on the cash.
That's right.
Which I don't do that.
So all that to say, neither one of them is a bad example.
Mm-mm.
Or bad choice. You just got to choose which one's best for you.
Best for you.
You need to talk to people and understand. Like the guy that wanted $300 a month. I don't know where he was getting that math.
Yeah, he just wanted the math.
And maybe that's what it was.
You didn't see that math anywhere.
Yeah.
If he did, he'd have bought it.
Yeah.
He wanted that math.
I mean, I just so anyway. I think this is a great great example, and I guess we got to finish up, don't we?
Yeah, the last thing here, who will help you buy your team and your network?
Yep.
We've talked about this. There's actually a whole show dedicated on building your team, but who is your team? Who are your strategic partners, whether it be bankers or insurance agents, attorneys? Who helps you find deals? Clearly, we can help you do that, but I mean, there's others that can help you find deals. Who are your mentors? And who's going to help you make those offers, do rehab bids, manage them, perform the rehabs?
On and on and on.
On and on and on. But summarize a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you buy? Your criteria, your opportunity to identify potential deals. How do you buy it? Your terms. You love that.
Mm-hmm.
Determine if it's a deal or not for you, and then who will help you buy it? Your network.
Yep.
Your support team and all that. I love this segment. I love this show. I mean, I love this topic. It really helps people. I appreciate you coming in here today, Dan, and joining us. You guys go to the show's Facebook page, the CrestCore Real Estate Hour. Then you can go to our brokerage website and check out those deals of the day that we gave you earlier, CrestCoreRealty.com. Appreciate you guys listening. We will see you next week here on the CrestCore Real Estate Hour.